You're embracing this idea of you're just not selling properties, but you're building a reputation, you're building a full brand, you're focusing on the bigger picture. And I believe like I did that very beginning. Like I wanted to separate myself from my brokerage. I created, what is my logo? What is that color? What do people want to experience so that I can focus on more of a higher level strategy? Welcome back to In the House. We're a podcast where we provide realtors with lots of tips and strategies and insights needed to elevate their careers.
Do you guys listen to this podcast? I know that you do because I've seen a lot of you at showings, and then it comes up midway through the showing. Oh my gosh, love the podcast. I'm like, oh, so nice.
You like to be famous?
No, I don't want to be famous at all, but it's just funny because they can recognize our voices.
Yeah. Yep.
But I didn't realize that would be a thing.
Well, today we're diving into the most critical shifts in real estate. As you know, Toni, this year has been, I guess, somewhat of you got to work really hard to make a lot of connections. And I believe that you can add a lot more resources to your business model. So today's topic is all about moving from being a real estate operator to being a real estate CEO.
What does that mean exactly? Like real estate operator, what's the difference between an operator and a CEO?
Well, just for simplicity's sake, I would say working on your business versus working in your business.
Good example.
Yeah. So if you're ready to take control of your business, build a brand, scale your success, then this episode is going to be stacked with actionable strategies that you don't want to miss.
So that's a great point. And let's start with then why some agents might not want to or not be able to overcome the hurdles to make that transition and switch.
Yeah, let's talk about a few points. So I would say why most agents tend to struggle with the transition from being like working in their business to actually overseeing the entire, from a bird's eye view is for the first reason being very short-sighted. So most agents are super accustomed to focusing on like individual transactions rather than long-term growth and strategy. And so shifting the mindset from being like a one-to-one, like back-to-back transactions, they're able to, if they can move away from that and understand that they're operating from a business standpoint, then they can sustain.
Now, do you think that there's a certain point in time when an agent would make this switch? Because due to the nature of the business, you could see how, you're working so diligently to accumulate the business. And then all of a sudden you have more business. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's this transaction, that transaction, and this transaction, right? And I could see how in this business, it's very easy to focus on each individual one without pulling yourself outside and then strategizing in a smart way. So does it happen at a certain time? Are you seeing that in a career, or do you think it's more personality style oriented?
Yes and yes and yes, all of the above. So it's not a switch, Toni. It's actually a transition. So when you come into the business, I believe that you have to be maybe understanding some of that role anyway. So you are going to be in the day-to-day, but you're also a CEO at the same time. And I would say coming in at the very, very beginning from day one to understand as an operator that then you can actually develop like a manual or develop like a training session, understanding the step-by-steps of what needs to be done, and you pass those tools on to somebody else.
Great points. I guess another reason why, and I can definitely resonate with this, and I think Jenny was like, oh, with Toni in mind, delegation difficulties. When you're starting a real estate business, you're really wearing all hats, right? You're doing basically everything from client care to the administrative tasks, marketing, client relations. You have to do it all because at that point, it's really not possible to hire somebody to be able to sustain the business itself and pay somebody regularly. For me, And I still struggle with this. I've gotten a lot better. My team will agree that I've gotten a lot better, but I still struggle with delegation. And for me, it has related directly to um, giving up control. I'm a
Mhm.
control freak, you know. But the funny thing is that with our assistant, Emily, she just does every admin task way better than me. It's so much more efficient. So I realized that in that learning process of, okay, let's just let go and just let them do it. Let them do what they're here for. It's a lot smoother of a transition and it frees me up for sure to deal with other more important things that require business strategy. And Jenny, you figured this out a long time ago, way before me. You've been licensed longer too. Did you ever struggle with letting go and delegating, or was that something that you were always good at?
I've always been fine letting go and delegating, only for the simple fact that I don't want to focus on things that I'm not interested in
Yeah, that's a
learning
good way to
about.
look at it too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I know that just watching and reading a lot of books and watching a lot of CEOs being really successful in their company is that you can only grow, you can only do so much, but you have to leverage other assets, and that's human assets, right?
Hmm.
I have a question. How did you
Hmm.
find Emily?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. It's a while now. Oh, from our old business coach, Deb Sellingworth.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she had said because at the time I was looking for a new assistant, and Deb thought that Emily would be fantastic. She was not wrong. I'm impressed every day by Emily, and so is the team. We just talked about it yesterday. We're like, wow, she's really good. So
Yeah.
super thankful that she's on our team.
Yeah. And so because every team works very differently, was it easy to integrate her like off the bat? Like I'm assuming she wasn't working as a real estate assistant before.
She just, you know what? So this is what I realized about a really strong administrative person that just is naturally highly organized, able to write the manual themselves, those kinds of things. She doesn't require a lot of direction. I
Hmm.
did have her do remember the Colby? We've talked about that before on the podcast. We've talked about
The
personality
strength
assessments and those
testing.
kinds of things. Yeah.
Hmm.
And her Colby was very high. So it was
Hmm.
actually a perfect fit for this administrative position. And so then we hired her off of that. And no, I would say that it was very easy. We just had to show her, certain real estate things one time, explain why it was important. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Lucky.
also, our protocols now are a bit different too, because it's very easy these days with technology to film a Loom video to show the person exactly how you would want it and then give them room to say, hey, listen, if you can improve upon this, then just go ahead and implement it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that hire somebody with really great administrative skills,
Hmm.
hire talent,
She's
hire
talent.
quick.
She's
Yeah.
talent. And
Yeah.
you have a lot of talent on your team too.
I do. Yes. They're in the studio right now.
Hi, guys.
So lack of business skills is I would say
Mm,
another reason why the struggle and transition is hard is some of the skills that a lot of the real estate courses don't teach us, which is the strategic planning and thinking, the leadership, the financial management, the budgeting. Why is it that a lot of people come into this business not really understanding that holistic like approach, and this knowledge gap and experience gap can hinder their growth,
mhm.
and not able to allow them to scale effectively. So some of these skills, I would say, how did you adopt some of these?
You know what? It was a struggle though for me too because I think that a lot of realtors get into the business without prior business experience,
Mhm.
and so are you saying that? Because I still see it with younger agents. They maybe don't have any business acumen, but they've entered real estate, and that's a whole different skill set specifically
Mhm.
to do with selling real estate. And then you have to have the business skills as well. So for
Mhm.
me, it took a lot of time. I mean, I'm still learning. You know that we're both always learning new things. Um, so I think it would be definitely business skills and leadership skills because someone could also have business skills. I've seen agents enter the business where they have a business background. They often fare a little bit better, right? Because they understand what a P&L is. They understand the budgeting and what it actually takes for the operating expenses to run the business. And then they're just really adding on for the real estate sales and the knowledge. But I think that it takes time because there's so many things that are important to learn. And I think that if you're motivated, you understand your why, and you're highly diligent, these things you'll accumulate it naturally. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't do it overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, reading, supplementing material, reading great books help. Additional courses outside of the real estate board, personal development courses as well. And they have personal development courses related directly to business, which are
Yeah.
very helpful.
Yeah. And I would say you do have to reach like beyond what is offered by the real estate board. I think over the years, I've been really interested in just different styles of leadership.
You should create a course for them on that. Just planting
Don't
the
give me
seed.
more ideas. I have so much going on right now.
Okay.
I do want to create
But that'd
many
be cool.
courses, but
It'd be cool.
one course I do want to actually start creating because CREA is actually canceling their course is a real estate assistance course.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Much needed
Right?
in the sphere.
Exactly. I'm just really surprised. Like if you want to become a paralegal, there's a course on that.
As there should be a course on
But
that.
I don't actually find that many real estate assistant courses.
No, you have to go outside of, there's online ones. A lot of them are from the United States, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Right. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, something for me to work on again.
Food for thought for later. We'll revisit it.
So these challenges can make that transition seem very overwhelming for a solo agent. But with the right support and strategies and the right mindset, an agent can absolutely grow their business in a different way.
So let's go into the strategies.
Yes, we're going to share 7 pieces of advice. And the first one, of course, what I just mentioned was shifting the mindset, is thinking about being a boss rather than an employee. And so when you're embracing this idea of you're just not selling properties, but you're building a reputation, you're building a full brand, you're focusing on the bigger picture. And I believe like I did that very beginning. Like I wanted to separate myself from my brokerage. I created, what is my logo? What is that color? What do people want to experience so that I can focus on more of a higher level strategy?
That makes total sense. Second one is building a strong team. So hiring individuals that complement your skills. We just spoke about this. Emily is far better at admin than I am. However, my skill set is getting the business, being client facing, having difficult conversations. And so my team basically supports where my skill sets may be a little bit weaker, and it's a perfect complement. So it's really fun working together. But hiring marketing administration and client relations so that you can focus on those high level decisions and growth strategies.
Remember how you asked me when should someone add that in, right?
Yes, I did.
So the one thing, if you are trying to figure out at what point in your business, if you can financially afford it to invest in someone at around the 15 to 20 deal mark, you're probably making 6 figures by then, right? And hiring somebody part-time. Somebody that can work maybe 2 to 3 hours a week or 2 to 3 times a week.
Let me ask you that, because this comes up a lot. Do you think that the first hire is an administrative person, a marketing person, or a buyer's agent? Because I know my answer, but what are your thoughts on that? I've heard different things too.
I wouldn't say buyer's agent because you do have to have systems in place. Most of the reasons that I've observed why partners don't work out is because they actually don't have a system in place. So you need to have a system in place. I would say if a unicorn person would be someone who can do a bit of marketing, but I would say mainly administrative.
Yeah, I agree.
Assistant.
Administration and marketing, I think, would be first.
Yeah.
But that actually, sorry, we touched on it. That third solution, I guess, is creating systems and processes, which you did touch on. Just for clarity there, standardizing your operations and developing repeatable processes every time, from lead generation to lead follow-up to client aftercare. definitely ensures that your business is consistent, efficient, and your business grows.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of systems do you need in place? First off, when you're getting the lead, incoming leads, where are you going to place those leads into this database? How are you going to nurture the leads? Ways to prospect. So the outgoing marketing, getting your name out, getting your reputation out. And I would say even when you also get an accepted offer, what happens after that deal? And what's the workflow so that your customer can have the best experience?
You know what? It's so funny. I guess it was 3 years ago now. It took me a while to do it because everything was in my head. But then when I started building the team, I'm like, oh, they don't know what's in my head. I have to write everything out now. It took forever writing everything out. Because actually, that is a part of the process, every single step, right? If you want it replicated and you want everyone to have the same client experience, you have to follow the process. That took a really long time because I did it for everything.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. I think just take the full day, take half the day to
it took
write
me
your
like
step.
a week.
Well, I can see why, because you probably were doing 10 different things at the same time.
Next.
But I forgot also creating a system as well when you have a listing.
Oh, 100%.
You don't need to be the one that's going to let the photographer in. You don't need to be the one that's going into, put a sign up. So those all can be handled
really
by
helps
somebody
save
else.
time for sure.
So another thing I want to mention is investing in marketing, because, there's so many different ways for leads to come in and prospects to come in that you want to be able to develop a marketing strategy. So back when you and I started, the traditional way of doing things would be putting ads in the paper, the hot
placing
sheets. Yes, the hot sheets, placing an article in the magazine, or doing direct mail pieces, notepads. It's really funny because I pull out all my old ones that I use as templates, and I'm like, oh,
you know what? We should each bring our old ones in and laugh at the photos.
Oh yeah, we should. But now we're using social media. We have video content. You want to use Loom to be able to send customized videos to your clients, email campaigns, so that way there's that omnipresence and repeat rinse the nurturing of your with your audience.
Absolutely.
But consistency in the branding will set you apart. So if you have the colors and the messaging and the positioning that speaks to your audience, then you're going to be aligning with the right people to work with.
Absolutely. Another one that's, newer, it wouldn't have existed when we both were licensed in the beginning, leveraging technology. There, I don't know if you've noticed this too, but even in the last year, so much change in regards to technology, specifically with, we've talked about AI platforms before, but there's even integrations. I don't know if you use them. Integrations now in a Google Gmail account, for example.
Okay.
Where they've integrated AI to make the email responses faster and also sync with your calendar.
Okay.
So I just tried it. I think it's not quite there yet.
What is it called?
I don't remember. Gemini or something. It's directly in, it's built into the system. So I just saw the advertisement for it and then I tried it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see this being highly effective and efficient. I probably don't know how to use it yet. And it's in beta phase, I believe. I could see that cutting, think about it. If you have, how many emails do you reply to a day? We get a lot of emails.
Yeah.
So many emails.
I try to keep my
at zero
inbox. No, not even
okay,
close.
I try at zero, but
I know
then I'm like, there's 300 fucking more emails. How am I supposed to do it? So, but think about that. Let's say you even had 50.
Which is a lot.
Which is a lot. Yeah. And then you have appointments and replying to everyone in a timely manner because it should be done in a timely manner.
Times that by text and by DMs,
I know,
right?
It's crazy.
And WhatsApp and Yeah.
But anyhow, so embracing tools and software that streamlines the operations. Also you can use these for managing client relationships and tracking performance, which a lot of people don't do. And it took me a while to learn how to do this as well.
Yes.
But it definitely helps you work smarter, not harder with more energy.
Right.
Yeah.
So the CRM, I would say, when you're leveraging technology, is that your systems all speak with one another. So when you were taught to, when a lead comes in, your Emily is now inputting it, like you put into your phone. Now they're going to input it into your systems, right?
Exactly. All I have to do, I need small tasks. All I have to do now is put it on my phone and it's labeled and then it's taken care of.
How
That's
does she get notified that there's that new lead in your phone?
So this is a great question. It would I'm sure there's a way to sort by date added, because then she could just go in, right, and then just look at the newest ones. I haven't figured that out yet. If you guys know, please message me directly. But no, so basically anyone that I add, once I label it, so there's a label function. All she has to do for that week is sort the labels.
I see.
And so it would show up as a new client and then she knows where to put them. So for example, add to newsletter, put in CRM, and then when the follow-up is.
You're labeling it on your contact list. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In your phone.
In my phone.
Okay.
In my phone. Oh. So there's probably a better way to do it, but that's just what's working for us so that people don't slip through the cracks.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Tracking your performance and tracking your calls, tracking your follow-ups. Aside from the email campaigns that are going out, you also want to probably figure out when you do have your outbound emails, like who's clicking on what. So that way you understand the content that people are looking for, and that will
Do you get stressed out by that? Who does that for you? Are you doing it or your marketing team's doing it?
No, my back end.
Yeah.
Right?
And then so how do they communicate to you? Like, so for example, if they notice then, if they're doing it themselves and they notice that, what are they looking for? Are they looking for engagement or clicks on certain things to replicate the likelihood of future clicks? Or what are they looking at metrics?
Well, there's a few things. Is the open rate.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the click-through rate.
Okay. And then do they let you know if it's up or down then? And then you make adjustments accordingly.
Yeah, but I would say you have to make sure you're not just analyzing like one single email and then getting super upset about it. I would say give it a good like 3 to 6 months before making adjustments, because you can switch so often that then that consistency is really confusing.
I mean, it's interesting too, just speaking to that point, because there's a lot of inboxes now that will screen anything out that looks like it's a promotion or something, right? So that can affect the open rate if it's not actually getting to them.
Yep. And if you have broken links as well. So make sure you're doing your diligence in setting out the right information, which also leads us to focusing on educating yourself on best practices and the market trends. And when you are networking with other professionals that maybe like us, like we're always interviewing guests, we're always tapping into different industries as well and how they affect our business. We're able to learn from their experiences.
And it's interesting because in any type of business, there are a lot of things that are often replicatable in other realms of business.
Yes. Well, entrepreneurship.
It's all the same with some small differences.
Different product, different service. But I think trying to understand and give the best customer service experience. There's always Jeff Bezos that he's always on my feed and talking when he's at these interviews. His number one thing when he was running a bookstore out of his garage is give the best customer service. And although they may have high turnover rate, they are always focusing on giving the best customer service. And even the company, is it called Zapier or Zappio?
Oh yeah, Zapier?
Yeah.
Or something? Yeah.
Where they have the best customer service for shoes, right? So...
I was thinking of a different platform, sorry.
Oh,
like, Zaps?
Yes. Maybe that too. And finally, setting clear goals and metrics. And, we always do, our next actually episode that when we record, we should consider doing our vision boards again.
Oh my gosh. Right? Is it already coming up to that?
It is. It's a year.
Okay, I have mine half done. Let's do it earlier so people can also do theirs earlier and meet all of their goals, meet or exceed all of their goals for 2025.
So use a SMART system, set your goals, measure them, and that way you can track your progress. So these insights should help you guys to understand the transition from becoming a realtor to actually owning a successful real estate business. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this episode today. We hope that these strategies really empower you to make your shift with confidence. And if you enjoyed this discussion, be sure to subscribe, rate, and share, and leave us a review on our podcast platforms. So please stay connected. Looking forward to seeing you at the next episode.
Thanks, guys.